Hello everyone, welcome to this week's Thursday Tea Time History Chat Live, recorded live because I'm on location and I've just gone to do this completely live and there's no signal, there's not enough signal, so I'm going to record it and this is uploaded. So thank you for joining everyone this playback of Thursday's History Chat Live. As you can see, I am out and about. I'm actually in front of Worcester Cathedral, and what you can see behind me are ruins of the monastery buildings here. And in fact, if I get my bearings, that's the chapter house behind me, and without looking up, I'm not sure what that wall was. I'm going to imagine, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably something like the refectory, somewhere like that. I may be completely wrong, but with the large windows and the fact that the Abbey Church obviously is now part of the cathedral, I would say it's somewhere where they needed light, so either scriptorium or where they ate and read, whatever. So anyway, welcome. If you are new here, thank you for being loyal supporters. If you have been watching my lives for a while now, thank you so much. I'm getting more and more followers on YouTube and Instagram every day, and I'm really grateful. I'm so glad that people are enjoying what I put out so much that they take the time to subscribe and follow. I'm very grateful and hope that you enjoy what's in the back catalogue. Please go and find it all, and obviously things that are coming up as well. So I also want to give a shout out to a new patron. Cassidy has joined my Patron as a member of the nobility tier. So she went along to patreon.com/British history and joined there for £10 a month. I'm not sure what that is in everyone else's currency, of course. And for that, she will also get the blogs and the historian interviews. I am actually just taking a break in order to do this from this month's live walk around, which I do, and I'm doing a walk around Worcester because the history of Worcester is fascinating. Worcester itself goes back to Roman times, and you can still see remnants of the Roman city walls. We're on the river here at Worcester. There's hills. This is what the Romans required for their settlements. And right through to World War II, and obviously continuing on, the final battle of the English Civil Wars was fought in Worcester at Fort Royal Hill. I've just been there to take the patrons around there. The HQ, the headquarters of the Royalist forces during that battle, is still there. It's called the Commandery now. But that goes back to being the history of it being a medieval hospital linked to the monastery here. It was dissolved at the same time as the monastery here, 1540, during obviously Henry VIII's reign, when they were all dissolved. And the medieval paintings in there are incredible. And I'm going to be taking the patrons further on into town to have a look at a street which has little changed since medieval times. So that's going to be fun. What else did I want to talk to you about? This week I've had incredibly good news. My tours are now all sold out for 2022. So they're all the group tours. There will be, I'm looking at doing some events as well, one-day events and some shorter events. And I'm also available for private hire if anyone happens to be coming to the UK and wants someone to take them around. I am available for that. But really, really incredibly happy that all of the group tours are now sold out. And if you are interested in a group tour, then make sure you sign up to my newsletter. I just got whacked on the head by a leaf. Make sure you sign up to my newsletter because you get notice of tours going on sale a week before the general public. You get the details and you get the ability to book before anyone else. And I have had tours, 2 I think out of 5 who sold out within that period, so it's well worth doing. There's no obligation, it's free to sign up, and you just get a weekly email from me with a bit of a summary of what I've been doing in the week in history stuff, so it's not too bad a deal. Now this week, so you may have seen on Instagram, and I shared it on YouTube as well, the anniversary today, 25th of November, 1120 is the White Ship disaster. And this is the sinking of the ship on which aboard was William Adeline, or William the Atheling. So he was the sole legitimate male heir of Henry I. And his death caused a succession crisis. Now, in fact, Henry I didn't die for another 15 years, but still by the time of his death, he had no legitimate male heir. Now, his daughter was Matilda, and Henry I had not only named her as his successor, but had had the court swear an oath that they would uphold her claim. When it came to it, her cousin Stephen of Blois took the throne with support, but Matilda also had her support. Now, Matilda was married to Geoffrey of Anjou, so she was abroad. I think she might have even been pregnant at the time that her father died. So she wasn't in the country in order to dispute the claim immediately, but she did, and this led to the 19-year civil war known as the Anarchy now, which resulted in an agreement that it would be Matilda's son, not Stephen's son, who would succeed Stephen to the throne. Her son was Henry II, Henry Plantagenet, and the Plantagenet name comes from Geoffrey of Anjou, obviously his father, and it was more of a nickname for the family. It was adopted more formally, I think, in the 15th century. I can't remember off the top of my head by who, and it was sort of it was assigned in retrospect. But so then you get with Henry II the beginning then of the Plantagenet line. Not that he would have called himself that. So that all comes from this one ship disaster, this one ship sinking. But it was such a human tragedy as well, because not only did you lose the country lost the heir to the throne, Henry I lost his son, he also lost a daughter and a son. He had illegitimate children. He had a lot of illegitimate children actually, and 2 of them were on the ship. So he lost 3 children in one accident. But also, this was a ship full of the nobles' children. The king and his sort of court and council had gone on a ship earlier on in the day, so and their children, the younger courtiers, I imagine it more like a party ship, were supposed to be following on, and it must have just been dreadful as the ship just didn't appear. And obviously news eventually got to them. I think there was about 300 people on board. There was one sole survivor. He was I think he was a butcher from Barfleur, where they had been staying, where the court had been, or where the court had set sail from. And he boarded the ship because his bill hadn't been paid. So he went on board to chase for his money. The ship set sail. I don't know what he was going to do if the ship had got to England, but anyway, and he was the sole survivor. So incredibly tragic. But so this leads to the Anarchy, which eventually leads to the beginning of Plantagenet rule, which I suppose could have come anyway if Matilda had taken the throne. So that was the anniversary of that is today. On the weekend, I have a new video coming out about the Heartbroken King, and this is the story of the death of Eleanor of Castile, the Queen of Edward I, and what they were like as a couple, her death, and then how he chose to commemorate her. And if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I think I've shared quite a few times about the cross at Charing. That is one of the Eleanor crosses, the 12 crosses that Edward had put up over the country on the overnight stops of her body, from where she had died, just outside of Lincoln, down to Westminster Abbey, where she was buried. So there's a video all about that. That will come out on the anniversary of her death, which is the 28th of November. Patrons, you have already got access to that video. So after this, head over to patreon.com/British History and you can access the video there. All patrons of all levels, by the way, get early access to videos. It's also be available on the podcast as well. And remember the podcast with Sarah not with Sarah Churchill, that would be a coup, wouldn't it? With Antonia Keeney talking about Sarah Churchill, first Duchess of Marlborough, is now available to everyone, and there is a YouTube version of that as well. Oh yes, after I spoke to everyone here last week on Thursday History Chat Live, I interviewed Leslie Smith from Tutbury Castle. Leslie Smith does the whole video is about how she portrays the figures of history that she portrays, because I don't want to call her a costumed interpreter. That's nothing against costumed interpreters, but I'm about to get run over, but she becomes the person almost, and it's incredible to watch. It's incredible to go to one of her events, and I spoke to her about I'm crying I'm not really crying, but it's windy. I hope this sounds okay, sorry everybody. I spoke to her about how she chooses her characters, how she researches them, what it feels like to be in character, the responses she gets from the audiences. It's a really good interview. It'll be available mid-December. It'll be available to patrons a week before it goes on general release. But I think you're going to really enjoy that chat. So look out for that as well. In terms of other live events, I always let you know what we've been doing. So last week on Instagram, we were on Tudor Times Instagram, Tudor.Times, which is Deb Royals' profile. We're talking about the Mary and Elizabeth exhibition, which I think I spoke to you all about last week because I'd been on Wednesday, and we spoke about we picked not even our favourite bits because there were so many that it was really hard, but particular artefacts that were on show that we wanted to mention. So we did that. That's now available to watch back on Tudor.Times IGTV channel. And then the Clubhouse room that followed that was with Kat Marchant and Catherine Brooks last Friday. Sarah, unfortunately, the Tudor Travel Guide, we had a bit of a clash of diaries for her. So, but we were talking about favourite historical exhibitions, museums. We got on to talking about the quaintness of some provincial museums and what's good about that, what needs updating about that. It was a really interesting discussion. I think that's available on playback on Clubhouse. So if you go over to Clubhouse, it's free to join. Everyone can now join it, and you can follow me at Philippa B. And then last night was History After Dark. We were on the Tudor Tracker Instagram, and so that is now available. Oh no, it's not available. It's not available. It's something corrupted afterwards. We have the audio. It will be available on the History After Dark podcast when that is launched. So I will let you know all the details of that when it's launched. But we were talking about historical events, and we had to guess which historical event one of us was talking about. But the person trying to describe the event had to do it in less than 10 words and couldn't say anything that was too obvious. It was very funny. So watch out for that on the podcast if you didn't manage to catch that live, because I don't think we're going to be able to put it out on IGTV, but it will be available on the podcast. But that was very fun. And tomorrow I am interviewing Tracy Borman, so that will be available to everyone in January. Patrons have been able to put forward their particular questions to Tracy, so she will answer those, and patrons will get the full interview available. And we'll get the full interview, and the generally released one will be slightly shorter. It won't have the questions asked by the patrons. So I am going to go back to filming the history of Worcester for my patrons. If you're interested in becoming a patron, I would love to see you over there, of course. It's British history, so you can get to it from patreon.com/British history. If you're interested in tours or just want to see what else I'm up to, and there's quite a bit, then you can sign up to my newsletter in my bio or on the website britishhistorytours.com. So for now, everyone, thank you for joining this recorded live. What do they say? It's a recorded, recorded live. So thank you for joining me. Apologies that I couldn't come to you proper live this week, but I hope you have enjoyed this anyway. Speak to you all soon. Bye.